Happy Friday! How are you all doing? Welcome to twitch.tv/IceCreamUploads. My name is Graham Day. I'm moving my mic around, and that's just what I do, because I can. Nice. How are you doing? Welcome to twitch.tv/IceCreamUploads. I'm joined by the man with a fan that we call Baby. Yeah. Alright.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. You sleep well last night?
I was out like a light. 3 streams. I think we were on stream for about 10 hours yesterday. Maybe a touch less than that, but it was worth it. What a day. We had yesterday's scoop, which was a good talk, to be fair. We had a lot of content that we went through. We had to ditch some of the stories yesterday to push them onto today's scoop. But today's scoop is full of PlayStation Showcase content. So they got dropped from yesterday. They still might not be spoken about today. That's just the way it is, which shows it was a good day. Anyway, we had the scoop yesterday morning, some PUBG fun times in the afternoon, games with friends. We managed to play with S-Pidge for the first time and Mr. Jack LeBou as well, which we didn't get any chicken dinners in game, but I did get some chicken to eat last night, so swings and roundabouts. But a good day. Good day. Last night then, babe, PlayStation Showcase. It was pretty much like sitting through the Koch Media conference again, wasn't it, right?
Oh, it was definitely comparable. There's so many similarities. Like, it was mind-blowing.
Once again,
I realised then that you wanted me to try and fill as you were taking a swig of your drink.
Maybe.
I heard the choke.
Yeah, that was me going, it's in my throat. Yeah, obviously a little bit of meme banter at the expense of Koch Media. We love the Koch Media people, but we will probably forever take the piss out of the Koch E3 conference. But do you know what? When they nail it next time, it'll be like, oh, okay, well, we can't really take the piss anymore. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, so yeah, if you missed it, last night, myself and Bib were joined by Ben Ward, aka Winstano on Twitter, from Next Gen Base, and we went through all of the PlayStation Showcase as it happened. Live watch-along territory, which we do. We do the ICU and Friends watch-alongs. We've covered all of the major conferences over the last 12 months. We started last summer with E3, picking off all of the biggest conferences. Opening Night Live was good a couple of weeks ago. E3 was great in the summer overall, not entirely, but overall it was great because of Xbox. But PlayStation showed up last night, absolutely showed up. If you missed the showcase, we will run through everything that was featured last night. You've probably seen it all over social media this morning. I mean, I say spoilers. We're going to go through it all anyway, but spoilers for the spoilers. There was everything from Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic to open things through to, I mean, there's a shitload of stuff involved that I'm not going to mention just now. I could just mention Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Spider-Man 2 for the first time was announced, and Wolverine from Insomniac. 2 major games from one dev in Insomniac, both announced last night. That, on its own, was just Disney's hand in the showcase. That Star Wars and Marvel, there you go. That was enough for me to just be like, well, that's my next 12 to 18 months of video games sorted. Yes, please. I mean, I'll have one in 6 months' time, one in 12 months' time, one in 18 months' time. Maybe not that quick because they were only just being announced. But yes, please. What a show. What a show. Let's jump into the chat and say thank you very much to Mr. Vernimator for the host every day this week. Consistency, appreciate it, dude. Thank you very much. Also, thank you very much to Mr. Kane360. Let me just hit a replay on this because this came up during the intro, but we don't have alerts on the intro. So let me give you time to shine because we appreciate everyone that drops any subs on the channel. So
stay frosty, yeah.
Stay frosty, yeah.
ISUP, let's go to ISUP, let's go to ISUP, let's go to
ISUP, let's go to ISUP, let's go to ISUP, let's go to. Thank you very much for the 2-month, Kane. Appreciate it, dude. Thank you very much. Kevin Ashburner is back again. Good morning. Happy Friday morning to you guys at Ice Cream Uploads. Happy Friday morning to you, Mr. Kevin Ashburner. How's things, dude? How's things? How do I pronounce that? Is it Nikio? Good morning, dude. How you doing? Welcome into the stream. Tito says, as an ex-boner, I'm boycotting this stream. So Tito, if you don't know the full story, has struggles getting erections now. So he calls himself an ex-boner because he doesn't get a boner anymore. That's what it is. No, Tito's an Xbox fan. He has an Xbox console. He likes his Xbox Game Pass, and he has a good life with that. The downside is that Tito is also a Marvel fan, and seeing Spider-Man and then Miles Morales and now Spider-Man 2 featuring Venom and Wolverine living their best lives, and it's not even like it's just cinematic cash grabs. Oh, okay, we've had the MCU. Let's just make a Spider-Man film. Oh, we've had some Wolverine stuff in the past. Let's just make a Wolverine game. Oh, Venom's coming back. Let's make a Venom featured game. It's not even like it's just that. These games, at least Spider-Man, and Miles Morales, because obviously we can't talk about the future ones. Those games are like 10 out of 10 games, exceptional. So it's a little bit of a shame. You just have to buy a PlayStation as well, Tito. Use your PlayStation like I use my Xbox. Just have it as like a Twitch device for your TV.
Yeah, for you to be able to watch the scoop on in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. Also, if you missed it yesterday, on social media, Mr. Garlic Clark shared an image of Ben Ward from 2014's E3 when he was sat in the registration room. If you've not been to a major games conference like an E3 or a Gamescom, your first day is a bit of a chore. You have to go through all of the registration stuff to get your passes and your lanyards to allow you to come in and out of the centres every day and stuff, which is painful. I will come back to that sub in just a second, so I can read it out properly. But Ben Ward was sat in all of the registration stuff, and when I say it's painful, if you're a British person, you come from moderate summer temperatures to LA, which is like burn, baby, burn. Then you go through these mega lines, you get these lanyards, you're waiting for your orientation sort of stuff as to where we're going next, which conference is first, do we go get some food, this, that, and the other. So naturally, Ben was just sat on his phone like that. So we, being the loving, caring people that we are, decided to frame that moment for one night only, although it's still there right now, as you can see, because Bippy just dropped it in the chat. So yeah, if you want to use Ben's face, this stream will be the last one, and then after that, it'll be gone. Confined to the history books, or until the next conference that we have that Ben's on anyway.
Yeah.
So Nioh. Okay, Nioh, thank you very much for the tier 1 as well. Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Legend.
So where in the world are you watching from, Nioh? Are you in the UK? Are you further afield? Do let us know. Certainly true after last night, Graham. Nothing to get excited about. Yeah, nothing at all. Nothing at all to get excited. Up in Sunderland. Hey. I'm not going to call you a Geordie then, because you know. Is it a Mackem? I was going to say. That's what I was about to say. Is it offensive to call someone from Sunderland a Mackem, or is it affectionate? Because I'm a Mackem. Yeah, I says it. There you go. Because I didn't know whether I could call you a Mackem, or that's like what you call like someone like. I want borderline racism. I don't know. It's offensive. Oh, is it? Okay. Well, I'm not going to say Mackem then. Is it? Welcome in. Anyway, Nioh, thank you very much for the sub. Good morning, dude. Okay, so if you don't know what the stories are for today, we will lead with PlayStation Showcase 2021. Naturally, that was the big show, not of Paul White fame from WWE. That was the big show last night. That will be probably most of the conversation on this show as we jump through that article, but we do have other articles to follow. We'll follow with the fact that Nintendo Switch could reportedly receive a price cut in Europe next week, potentially a €50 reduction, which is actually quite a significant chunk when you think of the cost of a Switch.
Massive.
Yeah,
that's the size. That's the cost of a game.
Huge. So. Is that because everyone's buying PlayStation stuff now? Is Nintendo going, shit, we need to drop the prices? I don't know. But price drop nonetheless. Elsewhere, Nioh, the Complete Edition, and Sheltered. Actually, let me move that one to the end, because that's Free Game Friday. That's Free Game Friday.
Free Game Friday, Graham, yes.
They could be free for you this week. We'll tell you how to get those. I bet you can guess. But also, Valorant reportedly won't run on PCs that bypass Windows 11 system requirements. So yeah, basically, Valorant's cracking down. We'll find out the details on that and why as we jump through that, if we have time after we've gone through all of the PlayStation Showcase stuff.
Yeah, man.
Bib.
Yes, Graham.
Are you ready to relive it all again?
I hardly slept a wink last night, Graham. Hardly slept a wink. I was just so excited. Like, I've seen a lot of people actually not liking what was shown yesterday. It's like, well, what do you want from video games? But I was fucking over the moon with what we've seen yesterday.
Well, if you missed it, don't worry, we got you. I was just There we go. I was just looking at the article, and for some reason, one of the videos wasn't loading in. But it's there now, so I'll open it up on screen. Nice! Wes Yin-Poole at Eurogamer has this article. Everything shown in Sony's PlayStation Showcase 2021. Oh boy, says the tagline. Let me just stop for a second, actually, and just high-five people like Wes Yin-Poole. People like... Not Andy Robinson anymore. Andy Robertson, as he will always be named by me now. And all of the other video games journalists as well, not just those guys. There's tons of people. You will have probably seen, as the conference was going out last night, VGC were throwing out news articles as they went. Shout out to people like Wes, Andy, Steph Nunneley, Vicky Blake, all of the other journalists that are sat there churning out news. Whilst we're just high-fiving and screaming at new games, there's people out there doing that sort of shit. So the fact that we are looking at this article now, it's already there. So GG's, boys and girls. So yeah, jumping into the article. Sony just wrapped up its PlayStation Showcase 2021 live stream, and here's everything announced during the show. First up, we got a teaser for Knights of the Old Republic remake, developed by Aspyr. The big news here, it's a timed PlayStation 5 console exclusive. It's also coming to PC. No release window was mentioned. Okay, I'm going to stop just there. We'll not play all trailers, obviously, because that's 40 minutes on its own kind of thing, but we'll play some of them. This one I will keep on screen. When I saw this on stream yesterday, I thought, okay, well, that's Jedi Fallen Order 2 or something like that. It's never did I think it was going to be Knights of the Old Republic until we saw the logo. What are your thoughts on this, babe?
Yeah, I was exactly the same. I genuinely thought it might have been a new Battlefront or something like that, but I never thought we'd get a Knights of the Old Republic. I didn't think. I mean, the game is still hugely popular. I'm fairly certain we actually spoke about this yesterday in the scoop rather than when we was on the stream last night. We was talking about games that are having remakes that people potentially would have missed 20 years ago, and trying to play them games now on modern consoles are so difficult. Especially games like on the PS1, PS2, you can get converters and stuff like that, but they don't genuinely look that good. So using emulators, if you have backup copies of your game, let's be honest, no illegal activity happening on this channel. But trying to find games that are that old to try and get them to be played in your front room now is quite difficult. So remaking these games for more modern consoles and graphically better. The controls was a little bit clunky back then. Obviously, they're going to be a little bit better now. It's a brand new audience, people who probably, like 20 years ago, a lot of people who were picking up weren't even born. So, yeah, it's games like this. I didn't expect it, but I kind of did at some point. You are going to get a Knights of the Republic game because it's probably one of the most popular Star Wars games there has ever been. I wasn't expecting it this soon. I imagine we probably would have got it later down the line. I'm surprised we hadn't had it before now. But yeah, this is a mega sale for a console.
I mean, not only is it a mega sale, because you'll see people like you'll get the tentpole games, the ones that people are happy to throw out as their game. You get it in anything. So like for us in the football world, it'll be PES 5, PES 6, PES 4, PES 2, whichever one it is. That like those are kind of tentpole games. In the Star Wars universe, Knights of the Old Republic is that. I mean, some people will throw out things that appeal to them. Oh, I loved old school
Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
Pod Racer. The Jedi games. Oh god, I can't remember what they were called. Like the Force Awakens and stuff like that, and the PS1. They were mega. They were so good games. But Knights of the Old Republic, I think, is probably one of the most popular ones.
Let's see, what was the? Was it the Force Awakens, or was that the film? The one that you played as like Starkiller on the PS3. Those were decent games. Force Unleashed, that's what it was. Loved the Force Unleashed games.
Phantom Menace, that was it. I got mine wrong as well. It was Phantom Menace.
I mean, I was about to say that one. If you were a glutton for punishment, then Phantom Menace, because that one was a great game, because it was obviously you were playing through the film, but it was buggy as fuck. I think I mentioned it before. I managed to you're in the like the pod racing arena on Tatooine, and I managed to jump over an invisible wall to get something that I needed to, but because I jumped over an invisible wall, I had to get back, but I could get through it one way, but I couldn't get back through it the other way. And the game auto saved me on the wrong side of the wall, so I had to restart the entire game again, which was fun and not at all annoying. But Knights of the Old Republic, tentpole game, but a lot of people haven't played Knights of the Old Republic. Star Wars fan here. Well, you can tell there's a Mandalorian helmet sat right there. But I have not played Knights of the Old Republic, and I'm probably never going to, because I'm also, like I've said before, I'm kind of a snob when it comes to video games. And on a lot of media, I don't tend to go back and watch super old films, apart from like some films are just good enough to stand the test of time because of the story and because of whatever. But I'm less likely to do that with a video game, because a film is something that you sit through 2-3 hours kind of thing. A video game, 30-40 hours-ish or whatever on an old school game, just I think I could be playing something that's 4K, 60 FPS kind of thing on my PlayStation, or even more on my PC. So I just don't touch it. So Knights of the Old Republic, even though no exceptional game, just not going to bring me in. So that being remade, and apparently according to the social media on that this morning as well, it's not just a case of, oh, we're just making it slightly prettier. They're going for a deep remake. Everything is being like proper redone again. So it's not just a bit of polish, it's beyond that. That has my attention, definitely. And that was just the first minute of the conference. You're already like, okay, let's sit down. And we were talking last night. We don't believe in console wars. There is no console wars. Well, there is, but there shouldn't be. That said, to not have console war, but what we have been doing is contrasting PlayStation's marketing versus Xbox's marketing over the last 12 months or so, and how Xbox has been superior. So it wouldn't be fair if we didn't do some sort of contrasting for the last couple of beats, comparing Xbox's conference at Gamescom versus PlayStation's conference last night. Xbox opened with yet another look at Flight Simulator and 10 minutes of chat around it. PlayStation opened up with Knights of the Old Republic. Do either of those tickle your fancy more than the other, Bib?
Well, to be fair, I'd much rather, what was it called? Trebuchet? Or whatever it was. I'd much rather look at a video on how to build one of those. I mean, that was cool for what it was, but I mean, when you're talking night and day, I'm talking, if you wanted to compare conferences, the PlayStation one that we saw last night, and then the first one that we see, the first Xbox conference that we seen at E3, them are the two ones that you can compare against. The one at Gamescom was irrelevant for me. It was just, you wasn't really seeing anything new. It was just expanding on some of the older stuff. But them are the two conferences. If you wanted to go for conference of the year, you've got to choose between them two, in my personal opinion. And I think last night, I'm an Xbox fan, I'm a PlayStation fan. And what we've seen at the Xbox One was fantastic, and I loved all of that stuff. But if I'm genuinely talking about what got me excited as a video game enthusiast, I think the PlayStation One last night was probably more catered towards my taste than the Xbox One was earlier on in the year. But yeah, if you wanted to go hit for hit in games rather than games, developer talk for 10 minutes, a 30-second trailer, developer talk for 15 minutes. Last night was a perfect example of how to time your conference to an absolute T.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we jump back, I mean, I've just scrolled back in my list to see what the starting games were in Xbox's conference. We started with Star Wars in PlayStation. We started with Starfield in Xbox at E3. We then jumped in to Project Eve, whereas we jumped into Stalker 2 in the Xbox conference. Then we had some cool Tiny Tina's Wonderlands footage, whereas we were back for Blood. So both smashed.
Jab for jab,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was a lot of games in the Xbox conference. There was less in the PlayStation conference, but I agree with Babe in terms of there was a really good post last night, or maybe this morning I saw, and it was someone basically saying, look, stop with your console wars. Let's look at the next 6 to 12 months for Xbox, or what, I don't know what time period it was. And it was basically going Halo, Forza, pow, 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 big titles. And then it was like, let's look at the same thing for PlayStation. Then you got like the Spider-Mans, the Wolverines, the pow, pow, pow. And it's like, do you know which one wins? You. That's what that's who wins. Everyone wins. Put away this fucking console war to the side. I get it. I completely get that. Happy days. I mean, the only downsides are if you are a Tido or something like that, and you have a certain affection towards one brand or string of games that's on the other side of the fence. I mean, Star Wars is. I've just seen a comment in the chat. Where was it? It was. There we go. Ian. Good morning, by the way. He says, according to Wiki, the
Shaggy.
Knights remake is a timed exclusive on PS5. Yes,
That
yes.
doesn't surprise me.
I mean, it's a Star Wars brand, which is Disney, which is whole of market. So usually you'll get, like, obviously the likes of the Ubisofts and the EAs of the world making games. You don't usually get Sony Studios making games like that. But also, I mean, the fact that MLB have made Sony Interactive Studios make games available on Xbox, you kind of feel Disney would be doing the same for that now anyway. Okay, even if Sony Studios were making this, they're not. Aspire is the team that's working on this. But if Sony Studios were working this, you kind of feel Disney would now be like, yeah, we want the MLB deal. If you want this game, you put it on Xbox as well. So
there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's how it should be. I mean,
Yeah.
timed exclusives are fantastic. I like that because that is your enticing thing to be able to come to a console. I don't agree with them being 12 months. I think at a push, 6 months is probably the absolute limit. If I was the one making the decision, I think 6 months has to be the max. But if you had a 3-month one, that's cool, because if your PlayStation Studios making it, you obviously want to be able to sell your console first. So yeah, I mean, ideally there wouldn't be that, but it's business, and this is the thing that we and everybody else eventually has to get our heads around. It's not just the fact that we have a console. This is a business that they're trying to plug. They're trying to sell you their console. So it makes sense for them to be able to do that. I just think 12 months console exclusive is a little bit out there. It shouldn't be that long, but I'm not the one that's making billion-dollar decisions, thank God.
yeah, I mean, what we can take some positivity away from is the fact that we are talking 12 months exclusives, not forever exclusives, which was always the case. That's on PlayStation, that's on Xbox. We're in the world where we have crossplay, where we have the ability to jump into parties with people on a different format, playing a game on a different format and play together. And we do have timed exclusives now. So brands are trying, obviously, permanent exclusives will exist and continue to exist because that's business.
Yeah.
But also, there's more conversation of how can we do that, but also not do that? How can we get the benefit from a business sense, but also look after our consumers from a sentiment sense as well? So we are getting those, which is nice. Anyway, putting a pin in that, let me jump back through the chat just to make sure I've covered everything. Gag, good morning, dude. Ian says, I've never played the original Knights. Me neither. Never touched it, which is why Knights of the Old Republic being shown first was big for me. I'm going to see if we can get a good deal in it or find another means of getting it. Or why? The only thing I would say is some of the games announced were a way off, weren't they? Yes, like some of it was up
A couple
to
of them were
20
April, March last year, next
yeah.
year, sorry.
So we had Gran Turismo 7s as soon as March, which I think is
GTA
now
again as well.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, obviously, Deathloop is imminent. It's like this month,
Next
so
week.
Is it that soon? I thought it was after, but
Yeah.
So some of them are imminent, some of them not so much. I don't mind that. I like a good spread. I want this is now, this is 3 months, this is 6 months, this is 9 months. I don't mind a bit of a quarterly spread. I don't want too much over 18 months away, because at that point you're like, okay, this again. But I don't mind big hitting stuff, because like we saw with Spider-Man was teased at 12, 18 months before it happened, and that was an exceptional. All that did was kind of, it gave me the, I want to see more. And that's kind of how it works. People start talking about games before conferences. Even yesterday we were saying, could we see Gran Turismo 7? Could we see God of War? Could we? Because we'd seen them already ages ago. And I don't mind that early hit and then silence. As long as when they do start talking, they start talking. My issues with things like Cyberpunk is we got the early hit, and then we didn't have silence. We had the early hit, and then here's a bit more, and here's a bit more, and here's a bit more. Oh, you're still 12 months away from being able to play it, yeah, but here's a little bit more, here's a little bit more. It's like, I've seen it all now. Just fucking give me the game. Well, actually, no, delay it another 3 years because it's clearly not ready if it's Cyberpunk. But
I'm trying to find a calendar for them now for early next year, because I did see something. I did actually post something on Twitter about a month ago of the calendar for January to April next year, and it was ridiculous as it was. That was before we had 2 conferences and a load of other games being announced during that. So the opening quarter of next year is going to be an absolute madness.
Jumping through the last comments then while you check that. Ian says the game was released as DRM free download on GOG.com in October 2014. I didn't have a PC in 2014, so fuck. God damn it. Rebel Assault and Rogue Squadron on GameCube. According to I've done that bit. Console Wars, says Vern, throws up some good banter. It's the fanboyism that comes with both that is nauseating. No, I agree. I don't mind tribalism. Tribalism is amazing in some senses, just in the same way that being a football tribalist, you support United. So anyone that's a City fan, you support Liverpool. So anyone that's an Everton fan, I mean, it's kind of emotive competition. Which emotive competition is great because of the emotive stuff, because it means something. But it's when people can't keep a grasp of their emotions and emotions turn into toxicity and go too far. Because someone's a City fan, I will not even sit at the same table as them. I mean, that's the reason me and Bib don't do the scoop in the studio anymore. Because
you get to dropping your laptop on the floor.
But it's when people take it too far. A bit that healthy tribalism and competition is healthy for many different reasons when properly. Just the same thing in real life, I suppose.
Just drop the link into the chat if you want to bring that up on the screen.
Let me load it up. While I'm loading the link up in the chat as well, if anyone has Twitter, do me a favor. I'm going to drop a link into the chat. The second link in the chat there, which is the tweet that we've had to go live. Do tweet that. Just let people know that we're live so we can get the conversation flowing. Yeah. Okay, Bibby's tweet. Upcoming games as shared on releases.com. So from 2022, Elden Ring, Hotel Life, a resort simulator. Nice. Pokemon Legends Arceus, Rainbow Six Extraction, Horizon Forbidden West, Destiny 2 The Witch Queen, Sifu, Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song, Saints Row, Assetto Corsa Competizione, Evil Dead the Game, Blood Bowl 3, Gran Turismo 7, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, WWE 2K22, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Grand Theft Auto 5 for the next gen. And then we start to get into the wider quarter. We've already had hit, and we're just in like general quarter bit now. There's so much there.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And obviously Stalker 2 comes out in April.
I've got that one on the screen then. I was just about to say it. And then if Bibby starts to get even moderately flaccid, Ba-ting!
Yeah. Well, if you scroll down a little bit more, you've got the quarter 2 stuff as well. So you've got Ghostwire Tokyo, Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga. That is going to be unbelievable. I can't wait to get involved with that one. And then you got the new Warhammer Forspoken that we seen last night, the new PGA game coming from EA. There was another one that I saw as I was scrolling as well. But anyway, Redfall, that was it in quarter 3. So this year has obviously been the year of trying to get hold of these consoles. I imagine that will continue into the early parts of next year as well. But for the first 2 years, you have got probably one of the best release periods in the first 2 years of consoles coming out that you're probably ever going to see with these games coming out. Fair enough, some of them might be exclusives to one or the other, like Redfall, for instance. It states it's an Xbox and PC game. Luckily, I'll be able to play that because that game looks unbelievable. But in a 2-year window, I genuinely, unless I actually went back through every single console generation, I cannot remember it being as good as this.
Even at launch, I remember hearing people saying so many games have been delayed. There's so many games being delayed. What is there even any point getting the next gen? Which I agree with in an essence, but like there was so much that was decent that you could play still from the last gen into this gen, but now we're getting to the point where we're getting the full proper 3-course next gen meal, not just like a bit of starter last gen, main course next gen, and then dessert could drop into last gen kind of thing. There's so much to come from. Like you say, first 2 years of the next gen consoles. So much, and that's not even factoring in the fact that we've got things like the last things that I showed on that before I came off the article was things like the Gollum game right at the end of the year. There's all sorts of stuff from Warner Brothers that hasn't been dated yet, so isn't on that. So we've not got there wasn't the Indiana Jones game in there, the James Bond game from IO Interactive, that's not in there. I mean, obviously these could be a little bit further off, but they could also be next year. There's so much coming, it's unbelievable. Anyway, speaking of so much coming, let's keep moving because we're 40 minutes into the stream, 30 minutes into the show, and we've only gone through one of the games that were shown last night. So let's keep going. I will. I won't play the videos for everything. I'll just pick the ones that stand out. So next up we saw Project Eve, a kind of Bayonetta-looking action game that takes place in the not-too-distant future on a ruined Earth against unknown enemies. What were your thoughts on Project Steve, babe?
I actually liked it. I was a bit, as we was going through it, and me and Ben was talking about it, because obviously me and Ben have played Parasite Eve. He mentioned that it could be Parasite Eve because they mentioned parasites and their lead character was called Eve. And then I instantly hated it because I thought, this is not what Parasite Eve is. If this is Parasite Eve, I'm fucking out. Like, this is not great. And then it was called Project Eve. And everything that I thought for the 2 minutes I was watching it, all just mellowed away. And I thought, this looks good. Like, the first 30 seconds of it, I thought, this looks great. This looks like a Bibby game. It's a hack and slasher. It's in a eerie world, shall we say. It had all the makings of a Bibby game. And then when he said Parasite Eve, I was like, nope, I don't want this game. If this is Parasite Eve, I do not want to see it. And it wasn't, thank God. But yeah, that looks cool. It looks cool. It's a little bit too Japanesey for my liking, but I can probably overlook that with everything else that was going on in it.
Yeah, definitely look good. More of a Bibby game than a Graham game. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it that way. So moving ahead then, something else that's more of a Bibby game than Graham game, but more likely to get Graham in it than Project Eve is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So we got our first look at Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, the fantasy-themed Borderlands spin-off from Gearbox. Bib, you've been quite open about how Borderlands is a game that tickles your fancy. Just Tiny Tina tickle your fancy, not in that kind of way. No.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just more Borderlands. If you are a Borderlands fan, then this game is gonna be right up your street. It is just generally one of them things. You either love the Borderlands art style or you hate it. And when it comes down to looter shooters, I think this is the biggest franchise there is out there. For me personally, that you can't really beat Borderlands. It has everything that you could possibly want in a type of game like that. For me, it kind of reinvented the first-person shooter with like level XPs and the billions of guns that you can take. So every single gun in there is unique. Even if you pick up the same gun, it will be a completely different level, or you might have another clip in it to be able to have more than 6 bullets, for instance. So Borderlands, if you've never played it and you can pick it up cheap, try it, because I can guarantee you'll have a lot of fun.
I mean, the art style, I think you might have mentioned it yesterday, not everyone agrees with the art style of this kind of game, which I understand. It's kind of like a bit Marmite. Some people love it, some people hate it. Maybe not as divisive as Marmite is, but it looks fucking gorgeous. This game just looks so nice. Really well designed. And also, stepping away from the game, shout out to Mr. T for pointing out the social activity on this game yesterday. A lot of video games companies will only acknowledge that their games exist and do not even consider the fact that other games exist. The social teams can get creative with that, but quite often there is just our games. If there is other games, we're not aware of that. They're inconsequential. Tiny Tina's Wonderland social media yesterday, though, was interacting whenever a video game got posted. So you can see bottom of the screen there, Forspoken. I imagine that was put on social media, on Square Enix's social media. You can guarantee that Tiny Tina's Wonderlands would have jumped in there and started having a bit of banter. They did the same thing with Grand Theft Auto. They did it with Guardians of the Galaxy game from Square Enix as well. So GG's. And that end shot just looks fucking badass as well, by the way. Okay, putting the pin in. I mentioned Forspoken, so moving on, we saw a trailer for Forspoken, the new game from Square Enix's Luminous Productions. It's due out in spring 22, so early next year, early to mid-year anyway. Muting that one because for some reason that one came up unmuted. But so we'd seen Forspoken before. We'd clearly forspoken about it before, but we'd clearly forgotten the fact that we'd forspoken about it before. Okay, that's enough of the forspoken injections. Cat! Next gen cat! Okay.
So me then. I was like, you guys cock away. I said she wasn't here when they closed the door.
Yeah, you guys can't see Bibby actually turned his head to his windowsill then to check. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, is this Life is Strange sort of stuff? It looks really good design-wise, but no, it's not. Then we start to get into more of the gameplay side of it. We'd seen Forspoken before, and I'd forgotten about it. This has my attention. This is up there in probably the top 5 of the games shown yesterday for me. What are your thoughts, Pip?
Yeah, again, I actually thought the combat looked a little bit spell-breaky. The way that your character moves, the way that you can throw out, obviously, the spells. But yeah,
and the breaking.
Yeah, and the breaking. Yeah, breaking all the stuff. I genuinely, I thought it was Life is Strange at first. The way that the characters move and the way that they look, the art style, genuinely, I thought it was Life is Strange. But yeah, this looks cool. This looks super cool.
To be fair, someone wearing like a check shirt, baggy, sort of like American student vibe, sat on a bus, looking thoughtful and emotive, that is straight out of the Life is Strange playbook sort of thing. So I can understand why we all thought that first. But then you're at this point of the video and you're like, okay, maybe it's not Life is Strange. Fast forward a few seconds. And then all of a sudden shit starts happening. We've got dragons, you've got big pigeons, flying balls of water. This is the bit that I thought that looked like Hogwarts Legacy or whatever the Hogwarts game's called. Then we drop into Lumen in the land of Nanite, free running across mountains and buildings and cityscapes and so on.
Yeah.
This looks good. This one I'm excited about. We'll pause there, but this looks decent. This looks decent. Okay, I'm going to start skipping things unless you want me to slow down on something specific. We then got to see Rainbow Six Extraction, which is the Bad for Blood-esque game set in Rainbow Six world with Rainbow Six sort of siege functions. I will hit play on this one because we spoke about it yesterday. We got the first look at the Alan Wake remaster. We spoke about Alan Wake remaster either yesterday or the day before. A game Bibby's very much on board with. Absolutely loves the game. Another one that is, it's a good time for a remaster for me. Never touched it, didn't play it. I've seen a lot of it. The fact that it's quite an emotive story. I'm very much emotive story person. The fact that we get that for next gen remaster, yes please, I'm on board for this.
And a new PlayStation audience.
Exactly. It's never been on PlayStation before. Who was it? Someone pointed out last night that it's never actually been on PlayStation before. Well, there you go. Quite a lot of people won't have played this. Unlocking the PlayStation market, that's huge. So big. Let's move ahead then. Okay, we won't jump into this too much, but more on GTA 5. Not only did we get a look at the PS5 version of GTA 5, but Rockstar announced a significant delay. The next version was due out the 11th of November, but now will be released in March 22. Microsoft-owned Bethesda had 2 games at the PlayStation Showcase. We saw a new trailer for Tango Gameworks' Ghostwire Tokyo, which looks as creepy as you'd expect. It's due out on PC and PS5 in spring 2022. This actually tempered my expectations for Ghostwire Tokyo a little bit. It looked, I don't know, I felt like it kind of tried to show me everything. You've got spells, you've got the big cityscapes, you've got what looks like Slendermen, and then you fast forward to this bit, Death Stranding. This is Death Stranding. This is absolutely Death Stranding. You've got White Room, like the Kojima-esque hand wavy moments and like a dude with almost black oil dripping down his face. That's Death Stranding. That's Death Stranding. So, did like the idea of Ghostwire Tokyo when it was announced at E3 a few years back. That didn't do it justice.
Not anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it didn't take a
Guardians of the Galaxy. Thoughts?
Yes. Big. Can't wait for that. I mean, I was all in anyway when we first saw it. Was it earlier this year? Was it for E3 that we saw it for the first time, or was it last year?
Yeah, no, it was E3 this year we saw it first time.
Yeah, I mean, I was all in for that anyway, and yesterday it kind of hit home a little bit more. Like, we got to hear the music for the first time without it being copywritten. And then, like, the E3 version that we saw, it was... they just disregarded the music, didn't they? And it was just talking. The characters just talking because you couldn't hear anything, obviously, for DMCA stuff. So, yeah, it has the humor, it has the music. I showed it to Samantha this morning because she wanted to see it. She likes the look of it. It's gone back to what they look like in the characters, which is probably a smart move. I know that will probably piss people off, very much like what the Avengers game did. Like you said, what would you call him? Doctor Strange. And,
it was Robin Donut Jr.
Yeah. Like it's very difficult to try and move away from what the Marvel character, well, the real life actors that have been portraying the characters for years. It's quite difficult to be able to move away. But I feel like if they get the writing right with this, I don't think that will matter that much as long as they get the humor and things like that. We should be good. I don't see it being that much of a problem. It's the same kind of thing that we're seeing at the moment. We've got a war, which we'll come on to in a bit. But yeah, I think this looks fantastic. I can't wait to be able to play more of this.
I hope this is a success. I hope it is, because that will show Square/Crystal Dynamics that they can take Marvel games, do an exceptional job with them, and make not only a critical acclaimed game, but a financially acclaimed game as well. If this comes out and it makes a lot of money, then they will go, okay, we need to focus on Marvel stories rather than Marvel open-ended profitable universes like Destiny likes. So yes, please. Okay, moving ahead then. There's a new video for free-to-play Battle Royale Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt, which recently launched on PC in early access form and is coming to console later this year. Yeah, I mean, it's a good job it's a battle royale, because Bibby said this just looks like is this Vampire the Masquerade, because it looks like a battle royale, and it turns out it is. What did you think of this? Is this something you're going to play, Bib?
I don't know. I'd need to see more, because I don't think the trailer gives away that much. It shows that it's a battle royale. They kind of give away the compass at the top of your screen when it shows you a little bit of gameplay. The gameplay looks cool. I like the way that it looks. I like the gothic nature of it. Is it a 4v1 or is it a battle royale? Is it? I genuinely have no idea. I need to see more of how it looks. What the whole nature of it is. But yeah, I mean, if this is Vampire the Masquerade, right? This is the second one, I think. I never really paid attention to the first one, but I genuinely thought the first one was a single player game, and now they're bringing out a battle royale. Like, I don't know. Is it a cash grab? Pass. Don't know. But I think it looks cool enough to be able to potentially survive. It's different. We talk about battle royales all being the same. If this is a full-on battle royale, it looks different from the rest of them that are out there, which is a big plus in my opinion. But yeah, what's the difference? Like, what is it? Is it a 4v1? Is it an actual battle royale? Is it a 5v1? Is it like Predator Hunting Grounds, where you are a team of 4? There'll be a Predator, and then there'll be AI, so you need to do missions as well as try to take out the Predator. Like, what are you separating? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of an interesting look on battle royale, like having, like, in the video it showed you through the different classes, like you had the Prowler and the Brooder or whatever it was called. So I kind of like the idea of that, but I like what I like in my battle royales. It's not PUBG, so it's not going to get my attention, is it? Though? So yeah, I'll keep my mind open. If it's a battle royale only, is it going to be it's free to play. So if it's free to play, I'll probably give it a try. We'll see. But that one wasn't high up my list. Let's just leave it that way. Okay, second Bethesda game to appear was Deathloop, which is right around the corner. It's due out on the 14th of September, so just 4 days. And the video's unavailable, so screw that. Next up, this was the bit that kind of caught us off guard, and you can tell that exactly because of the way they phrase it in the article as well. Here's something out of left field. There's a Kid A/Amnesiac virtual exhibition presented by Radiohead and Epic, coming to PS5 and PC and Mac by the Epic Games Store in November 2021. Kid A is one of my favourite albums of all time. I'm looking forward to this. Thoughts on this one, babe?
Yeah.
I
don't really know what. I mean, I'm not a Radiohead fan as far as I'm concerned. They've got 2 songs, Creep and Just. That is it. Not really a massive fan. So I imagine this is probably just an experience rather than it's going to be a £40 game. I don't really know what to say. What I will say is, this water is going right through me, so I'm going to have to go for a piss. Otherwise, we're going to be pissing all over the stream. So I'll give me 2 seconds.
Absolute piss take. Yeah, I mean, this is classed as a virtual exhibition, which, if you want gameplay, this is probably not going to be it. Is it just going to be a look around? Is it like a museum sort of exhibition? I don't actually know. So yeah, Kid A/Amnesiac virtual exhibition. I mean, one thing I will say, Epic Games are involved. Is it another kind of idea of Epic bridging the gap between consoles, gaming, and music, potentially? We'll keep you updated if any more news on that does come out. Next up, we got a fresh look at, I'm assuming this is pronounced Chia, a game inspired by New Caledonia. It launches exclusively in the PS4, PS5, and Epic's Game Store in 2022. This was one that looked a little bit Moana/Dora the Explorer-ish. It was okay. Probably not for me. Then we get into something that's very much for me. Sony moved on to the PlayStation Studios titles, and there were some big reveals. Naughty Dog's Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy are being remastered for the PS5 and PC as part of the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection, due out early 2022. I say it's very much for me. We also spoke last night about the fact that I think it was Chappers that mentioned it, is saying that he's interested in remasters and remakes as long as they're PS1, PS2 remastered and remakes. PS3 maybe, but PS4, it's kind of like we've just had that, which I get. But the biggest thing with the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection is it's two of the best looking, biggest bombastic sort of experience that you could get in the Uncharted universe. Obviously, it's super HD because it's just on the last gen, but it now comes to PC. That's the big thing. If you've never played this before, if you're an Xbox console user but you have a PC and you've never played the Uncharted games, this gives you a very good opportunity to jump in to an absolutely incredible gaming experience. Uncharted is a ridiculous, it's up there with all-time best series for me, so being able to play some of this if you haven't before, big move. Okay, now we get into the big hits. We're into PlayStation Studios titles, so now we're getting into the big hits. Jumping in the chat, Enzo's lurking. Thank you very much for being here and for the lurk, Enzo. Appreciate it. Tito says, Vampire Masquerade BR is out now. Seen some streams. Proper BR with lots of verticality. Some interesting ideas in it for sure. I mean, that's cool. I'm not the biggest fan of verticality. I know that offers much more varied fights and varied interactions, but vertical is not something that does it for me, which is part of the reason why I don't play Fortnite as much, which is why I don't like the wall running in Call of Duty as such, or the Titanfalls and things like that. The verticality kind of, I like the boots on the ground sort of stuff, so that's why it looks interesting, but I'm not sure if it keeps my attention. Mr. Gallic Clark, good morning, dude. It's going good. How are you? Okay. Back into the article, as you can see on screen. Then a big surprise. Insomniac is developing a Wolverine game. Let me hit play on this. See if there's any audio that we can actually listen to. PlayStation Studios. This is one of the big ones. Okay, now there's music. I'll mute it. But as we went along with this last night, you see the Marvel logo, you're instantly like, oh, Spider-Man. It's got to be Spider-Man, right? Okay, we've got a bar. We've got destruction. That is not Spider-Man. Okay, some dude in a cowboy hat. Okay, some dude in a cowboy hat covered in blood. That's definitely not Spider-Man. You don't see any blood in the Spider-Man games. Okay, knives. Okay, you can see the threat, but then now this is it. The snicked of the claws coming out. Yo. Okay, that's it. That's all we saw. But that is enough to start the hype train. That's like the first ever look at Spider-Man that we got at E3 20, whatever it was. Yes, was that 2018? I want to say. Hype. Yeah. I'm intrigued to see how this will work. Like, are we looking? So for Wolverine, I mean, the reason I was mentioning bits about the blood on the knuckles and stuff like that is because that leads into the conversation of Spider-Man was very family. It was, you got some threat and the tension of like, oh, bad guys and stuff like that. But as I mentioned on the stream yesterday, you send someone off a rooftop, which you can do, web kick them, get out, they fly off the side of the roof to their death. Oh, no, they don't, because suddenly a web sort of like grenade that's stuck to them like fires and sends them to the side of the building, and they get stuck there so they don't fall to the death. Nobody perma dies. They're all knocked out, or they're stuck to the side of the buildings and stuff like that. Nobody dies, and that's to keep it family oriented. There's already more blood in that trailer than there is in Spider-Man, just on the knuckles of Wolverine. Mr. Gallic Clark with the 15th gifted sub. We appreciate you. D-Mac, enjoy your 6 months of sub on this channel, dude. Enjoy. Mr. Gallic Clark, I appreciate that. And that actually takes you into the top list of gifties now. You are in third place, only beaten by the fact that Chucky got there before you with his 15 gifted subs. So appreciate it. Joint second/third in the table. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, mate. Do you know what? That's fucking huge. Hero. Between Enix, Chucky, and Gallic Clark, we've got 60 gifted subs on this channel. That's ridiculous. Wild, isn't it? That's ridiculous. Thank you very much, boys. Wild. So yeah, could we be getting a more mature Wolverine game? I hope so. Yeah. Give me some of that Logan / Wolverine backstory. Yes, please. Yeah. If not the backstory, we don't have to see him with his adamantium like transfusion or whatever you want to call it, but just give me a bit of the emotion and the pain and the stuff that drives Wolverine. That's what I want.
Yeah, you can't tame Wolverine, can you? I give the example last night. You can't tame Deadpool. A Deadpool without the violence, the swearing, and all the other stuff that comes along with it. Like you said, wanking with his very small hand and things like that. The sense of humor, it just does not work. It's not the same. So taming down Wolverine would be just as bad as trying to tame down Deadpool, in my opinion. So yeah, it needs to be gory. It needs to be violent. It needs to be made for adults, really.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said last night as well, the caveat being that Deadpool is Deadpool. You don't water that down. Wolverine, if you're looking at the character, you need to focus on the pain and everything that comes with that. If you're looking at Wolverine as part of the X-Men, then that's a little bit different because that's the concept of the X-Men. You can leave his pain and his anguish behind. You make him do the one finger claw references that you get on the films and stuff like that and call people bub and whatever, then yeah, that's fine. But if you're just looking at Wolverine, it needs to go darker. Okay, jumping back into the article. Gran Turismo 7, we got a look at that. Due out in March 2022. I'm not going to hit play on that. Spoilers, it features lots of shiny cars. Then we jump into another one I'm going to hit play on. Back to Insomniac. Sony announced Spider-Man 2, which stars Venom. That one is a while away, due out in 2023. So we have no date for Wolverine, but we did get a date for Spider-Man 2. I'm going to turn the audio down. I will play the audio on this one because I think it's... Oh, okay. I'm not going to play the audio because it's just going to restart the video. Great.
Skipping through now. It doesn't sound like it's got any music in there, so you should be good.
For as long as I can remember, I have looked for an equal.
For as long as I remember, I can look for an equal. Who's talking?
One who could surprise me.
If you haven't played these games, by the way, the combat is exceptional. It's so good. It's like playing a movie. And you can use like special moves over and over and over again, but there's so much variety that you don't feel like you're just getting repetition either. Who could it be?
Fucking hype, mate.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Not till 2023
Being
though.
voiced by Tony Todd as well.
Fun fact: he appeared in one of the early seasons of X-Files. I know because I'm watching through it. He was Augustus Cole, a guy that had mind control powers. But there you go.
Fucking hype, mate.
Yes. Are you on board for that, babe?
Absolutely, absolutely. It looks as beautiful as you could probably imagine a Spider-Man game looking. It's all about the city, and if the city looks shit, then it doesn't matter how good Spider-Man looks, and that city looked fucking amazing. The characters look unbelievable. Yeah, all in, baby,
all in, baby. I mean, I like the fact that it potentially opens up different play styles because Spider-Man plays similar but differently to Miles Morales, and if you get any sort of ability to use any of the Venom characteristics, that's going to play different again, which you can see even from the subtleties of how Insomniac made Spider-Man to Miles Morales. Just little things, little details. Like if you're flying through the city on a web on Spider-Man, you're doing it clean. You got your backflips, you got your turns, and when you're on the web, your body's you're like an Olympic diver. You just got the right position and posture. Miles Morales, it's just a bit loose. It's like someone that's practicing, but it's like it just happens in the game. The way that he adjusts his body and almost like as he's swinging, starts to face the wrong way sometimes. Like, oh shit, I'm turning around, but it just happens. You don't even notice it. It's just so good. So seeing how good that is, and then seeing how they bring in the bigger, beefier, darker elements of Venom, I'm looking forward to it. Huge.
Yeah,
Okay. And then the final one is the show ended strong. I mean, if that wasn't strong enough for you, Wolverine, Gran Turismo 7, and Spider-Man 2, we then get a look at God of War Ragnarok. This is a proper reveal of the game, which also stars Thor, as Bibby mentioned on social media, is more capped by Bibby. Nice. So this looks decent. I'll skip forward a little bit because this one's 3 minutes odd. I'll get past the title stuff, but you get to see is it Atreus? He's older now. You've got obviously all of the beauty that you get with God of War. Kratos is an old man anyway, so he's kind of similar. But you're starting to see what is undoubtedly going to be up there with Game of the Year conversations again. What did you think of this, babe?
Yeah, this again looks absolutely amazing. The shitstorm that's happened on social media since this was released last night, and people say this isn't far, this isn't far. It basically what I was alluding to earlier. We've been spoiled by what Marvel have given us, and it's not representative of the characters that have been there well before Marvel even picked up a pen and started writing these for people. Like, apparently, like I'm not up to date with it either, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I absolutely am. I didn't know the whole Thor character. I knew of him before Marvel. I didn't know what his whole persona was about, and apparently he just gets pissed all the time. He just eats absolutely everything. And probably the closest that we've seen was when Chris Hemsworth was obviously portraying that in, is it Endgame? Where he was Fat Thor.
I mean, yeah, it was. It was, but I'd say that's visibly kind of similar to how Thor is in Norse mythology. Like when you think of like traditional Vikings, traditional Vikings are kind of like, rather than bodybuilders, the strong men. So the people that are big and the hairy and beardy and that's kind of what it should be. Obviously, Chris Hemsworth and Hollywood have turned them to be an absolute unit, but also a Calvin Klein underwear model, which is not the same sort of thing. Thor is very different. I mean, I hadn't seen a shitstorm about people kicking off about it, to be fair. I'd only seen positivity on my feed this morning. You, Spike, a few other people had spoken about how it's good to see Thor in that sort of style. And I mean, that is how I got brought up with Thor. Not that I spent a lot of time in Norse mythology, but through school and education, we touched on loads of things, and we did I just assumed every school would have gone over the story of Thor and Loki being tricked by, I can't remember the name of whatever it was, but someone was basically setting tasks for Thor and Loki. And they had to complete those tasks. And one of Thor's was, can you drink a full horn of ale? And Thor's like, mate, I'm Thor. I drink fucking ale for breakfast, quite literally. Yeah. So Thor's chugging on this ale and it's just not finishing, and it's just not finishing. It's chugging and he's chugging and he's chugging. It goes for fucking ages. And then eventually Thor goes, I can't do it. I can't do it. And then this trickster goes, that's because it wasn't actually ale. Whilst it might have seemed like ale in the horn to you, you were actually drinking from the sea. So whilst you did get tricked, and whilst you didn't succeed, the sea levels have actually gone down because you fucking drank that much. And that's kind of like, that's Thor for me, the big, burly, butch bloke kind of thing. Seeing that morphed into Chris Hemsworth, I'm fine with, but anyone that's kicking off about the fact that he's not got washboard abs and guns like me, then that's just not what Thor's. Just not what Thor.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it all boils down to. Like, again, we've been spoiled by how good the real life actors are at portraying these roles. That's kind of we've been brainwashed. That's why it's going to be very difficult for anyone to play anyone else other than the likes of Iron Man, Thor in the future, Captain America. It's very difficult to be able to have those like for like characters in the future. Obviously, Captain America is now the Falcon, so that's that's a lot sooner than I would have imagined. But this is class, in my opinion. But if you go onto any of like the IGN posts or any of the main media outlets that have tweeted this out yesterday, and then have a look through any of the comments, you'll find the shit posters there that have no idea, very much like I was previously, of what Thor used to be and what he was actually portrayed as. Because again, I was kind of spoiled by what Chris Hemsworth did, but he's a bloody beautiful man, isn't he? You know what I mean? He ain't going to be rolling around. He ain't going to put on 10 stone just to fill the role. He technically did with a fat suit, but yeah.
I mean, I'd take it seriously if that was me. I'd just put on the weight. I'd take the beers, the burgers, and the donuts.
I don't even have to do that. Just cast me. Just cast me, and I'll do it for you.
There you go. You got Thor over there, but with an extra R and an F instead of a TH. For me.
I will happily grow my beard and hair out for the next 2 years.
Okay, we'll put a pin in that then. So that was the PlayStation Showcase. If you do want to go through it live-ish, you can watch the VOD on demand here on Twitch. We aren't going to export that over to YouTube because there was some audio stuff that would jeopardize and get us potential channel strikes. So we'll just leave it here on Twitch. If you do want to check it, do check through the last broadcasts. It will be in there for the next 3 months-ish on our channel. Okay, jumping back through the comments to catch up, though. David says, as for Wolverine, that looks like it was supposed to recreate the bar from the first X-Men movie. Gary says, I'm praying that it's a story-driven Wolverine game, which it should be, going by Insomniac's previous Marvel titles. I didn't consider it being anything else. With the success that Insomniac's had, and with the success that Insomniac has had on Marvel content, just purely from the internal discussions, that would be one that's easy to get over the line. We want to make another record-breaking game for you, Marvel. Okay, here's Wolverine. Ta-da! There you go, continue. So, yeah, I'd have thought it'd go that way. King Comic, good morning, dude. Or good afternoon, should I say. He says, hope everything's all good. It's even better now you're here, dude. Yeah, how's things? Gary says, Miles is more about how he was learning to do it. Yeah, exactly. And that's it's kind of good because Spidey, you're learning for yourself. Whereas when you go through Miles, new players don't want to, no, existing players that have not too long ago gone through Spider-Man don't really want to learn the ropes again. So you you learn it again, but you learn it for Miles, which means that anyone has been through it with Peter already. You kind of like, well, I'm showing him how to, he's my protege, which kind of works in that sort of sense. It's good. It's good. As for God of War, Gary says, I'm surprised Corey, that's Corey Barlog, by the way, isn't the director on this. Apparently, he's working on another unannounced project. See, I knew he wasn't the director on it. I didn't realize he was working on another unannounced project, which is pretty cool because Sony Santa Monica, I mean, obviously nailed it with God of War, led by Corey Barlog. If he's not on it, do we have something as big in the works? There was conversations on social media last night or this morning again, all the time merges into one when you stream 3 streams in a day. I don't know when it was, but I saw people saying, okay, so Insomniac have brought us Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and are now bringing us Spider-Man 2 and are working on a Wolverine game, whereas Naughty Dog have only brought us multiplayer for Last of Us. Surely they're going to be working on stuff. Sony Santa Monica have only got us another God of War that's been in the works for a few years. Is that it? But maybe it's not. Maybe what you see on the surface is it's like the iceberg. You only see the tip of the iceberg, or the duck that looked calm on the water but the feet flicking underneath. Okay, if we're only seeing a bit of God of War and Corey Barlog's not on it, what else are Sony Santa Monica working on? So we've got a shitload to be excited about, but what else could be coming soon, which is huge. That's where it starts to get, wow, what a time to be a gamer. Look at us. Look at us. Look at us. Anyway, that's enough for PlayStation. Let's put a pin in that. Let's start to pick up the pace as we're over time now. So I'm going to quickly go through the articles that we have left to just wrap things up. Jumping into Nintendo, Andy Robinson at VGC, not Andy Robertson, but Andy Robinson, says Nintendo Switch could reportedly receive a price cut in Europe next week. Retail Sleuth points to a €50 reduction, which could be the console's first since launch. Nintendo Switch could reportedly see its first major price cut since launch next week. That's according to a previously reliable retail source at Nintendo Alerts, which most recently revealed PS5's Ratchet & Clank bundle before its official announcement. According to the source, standard Nintendo Switch consoles will be sold for €270 from Monday. Currently, the Switch is sold for around €330 in Europe. Nintendo does not set an official RRP in Europe, but it could be that it's lowered its distribution price in order to stimulate sales ahead of the launch of the OLED model in October. It's also possible that this is a temporary cut in order to clear excess stock. VGC has asked Nintendo for comment and will update the story when we hear back. Okay, I won't jump into the extra stuff because it'll be into sales targets and where they are and stuff like that. But if you're interested in the Switch and you're not bothered about getting the OLED model, you're not bothered about sitting and waiting for the guaranteed 100% confirmed Pro release in March, according to ads plays, that is anyway, at least, and you just want a Switch, then do you know what? From next week, it could be a good time to get one. New stock coming, old stock needs to be gone, so they will drop the prices for that. If you're interested in a Switch, good time to get involved. Okay, moving forward. This one is for Valorant players. We have played a little bit of this on the channel, not since launch, but we did play quite a bit of it at launch. But Riot Games Valorant reportedly won't run on PCs that bypass Windows 11 system requirements. So Microsoft is just over a month away from beginning the rollout of Windows 11, and as we know, there are some new system requirements. You're going to need a newer CPU, 4 GB of RAM, 32 GB of storage, and you'll need TPM 2.0. Now that now it seems that some games such as Riot Games Valorant are enforcing those new rules as well. According to the report, it's just being enforced on Windows 11. If you're still running Windows 10 and you don't have TPM 2.0, you're good to go, at least for now. Windows 10 is supported until October 2025, but that doesn't mean that Valorant and its Vanguard security software will continue to only require TPM 2.0 on Windows 11. In fact, there isn't even any evidence that TPM 2.0 requirement with Vanguard is strictly related to the requirement in Windows 11. Enforcing TPM 2.0 helps to prevent people from cheating. After all, the Trusted Platform module is all about security. It means that if your specific hardware or device ID gets banned, you can't spoof a new device ID. The reason that such a feature wouldn't show up on Windows 10 is because so many people without TPM 2.0 are already using the platform. Windows 10 has the same system requirements as Windows 7, which is well over a decade old now. TPM 2.0 has only been required on new PCs since mid-2016, and since it's a requirement for Windows 11, it's safe to assume that everyone running the new OS has it. With 4 years of support left on Windows 10, it's unclear if Vanguard will continue to not require TPM 2.0 on the platform for that long. Of course, there are many that have bypassed the new system requirements. It's not even hard to do. Microsoft has said that if you clean install Windows 11 with an ISO, it won't check if you meet the soft flaw, which is the newer CPUs and TPM 2.0, but you might not get updates. As it turns out, though, some software might not work, and we'll see if other games follow suit. Anything you want to add on that, Bib?
Not really, no, but it just kind of shows that that companies are actually taking cheaters pretty seriously and trying and close the doors on every single exploit that's going out there. Yeah, we're looking at you, Warzone, for not doing that and having so many cheaters that your player base is starting to dwindle-ish. But yeah, I mean, I like the fact that they are going above and beyond to try and stop this from happening.
I mean, shitloads of the audience have already left, but they've shut the door behind them now, finally. Oh, yeah, we're closing the door. Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, I mean, interesting to see. We can't really comment until we know for certain exactly how that's going to work and stuff. I'm always up for more anti-cheat. Definitely. I know there's all sorts of decisions of should you have to install like these potentially like nosy spyware sort of programs, and then you've got the conversations of what do you think they're looking at? The fact that you've got season 3 of fucking Smallville on your PC and you didn't pay for it or whatever. Nobody cares. So I get there's all those conversations that we've had before. The interesting bit for me is whether they would be interested in pushing down that TPM 2.0 route and forcing people to have that, or kicking people off of platforms, because that then starts to have issues for legacy PC users. And yeah, that's kind of where my interest is. But we'll see how that cookie crumbles as it gets crumbled.
I'm interested how many people are using PCs that are that old to try and play Valorant. Surely people who are playing Valorant are using a PC after 2016. Surely. Must be on the edge. By the time Windows 11 becomes a fully fledged, you have to use it to be able to play it. That PC is going to be like 8 years old at that point.
I mean, it depends. That's what I'd think. But then again, I wouldn't have been buying PES 2014 or whatever it was on the PS2. But some people still were doing that. So it depends on... Some people are probably overclocking and stretching the shit out of PCs because that's all they have and can afford for whatever reasons, financial, economical, social, whatever. So they could be. It could be. But... Yeah, we'll keep our eye on it as it happens. If there is any issues with it, if it does cause any unrest, we will keep you posted. But for now, forget the unrest and let's just focus entirely on rest. As Stephany at VG247 says, Nioh, the Complete Edition and Sheltered are free on the Epic Game Store. These are your freebies of the week in what we call... What is it, Bib?
Free Game Friday.
Yeah, goddamn right it is. Yeah. 2 games are free this week on the Epic Games Store. From now until September 16th, you can download and keep the Nioh Complete Edition and Sheltered. So if you've got Epic Games on PC, get them. Just get them installed. You don't even, not even installed, just get them claimed. You don't even have to install them. Just keep them there for when you do want to play them in future. So in Team Ninja's Nioh, you are a samurai who will fight both warriors and the yokai that infest the land. Because this is the complete edition of the game. It contains the Dragon of the North expansion, which opens up the Tohoku region. It also comes with the campaigns Defiant Honor and Bloodshed's End. You also get the exclusive Fujin helmet, which you can claim by selecting boons from a shrine. PC features include gamepad compatibility, 4K Ultra HD support, and crossplay with Steam players. Sheltered is also free for the next week on the store. In this post-apocalyptic disaster management game where billions have been lost in a nuclear holocaust, you must gather as many supplies as possible as you make your way to the concrete underground shelter that will soon become your family home for the foreseeable future. Your main goal in the game is to keep your family alive. That's well written in Yorkshire font, is to keep your family alive and protect them while maintaining your shelter by keeping it secure, habitable, and equipped with enough resources to survive. It also features customization options, allowing you to decide your family's gender, names, and appearance. The game will also feature RPG elements pertaining to your family. As they develop, their stats will adapt to an evolving experience and trauma system. Attributes, strengths, and weaknesses will all change based on the choices you make. So those are this week's free games. Next week on the Epic Games Store, the free games will be Speed Brawl and Tharsis. I mean, Nioh is big enough on its own, even without Sheltered, to be a free game. So yeah, make sure you get it. Make sure you get it. It doesn't cost you a penny. If you're on PC, just get Epic Games installed. Get these redeemed. Job's good one.
If you've still got the video up, if you skip to 40 seconds, just have a look at how good that game's been reviewed for you to say, okay, this is probably worth me getting the Epic Games Store just to be able to add it to my collection.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
9 out of 10 Destructoid, 9 out of 10 Dual Shockers, 9.5 out of 10 from Forbes, 5 out of 5 from NY Daily News, 9.6 from IGN, 5 out of 5 Game Rant, 9 out of 10 from Game Informer, and 5 out of 5 from, I think that's the Telegraph. It's got a little bit of an effect on it, but yeah, fuck. Okay, I'll take a 9/10 out of 10 game for free. Yes, please. Thank you very much.
It's meant to be £40 as well. I've just redeemed mine. It's meant to be £40 on the Epic Games Store. They are trying to flog Nioh 2, so that's probably why they're giving it away. But regardless, it's a £40 game that you are getting for free.
Bargains. Anyway, tell you what. You all go and get that redeemed now. We will go and just wrap things up for you. We are going to disappear now. Thank you, everyone that has stuck around for a full week of scoops. We appreciate you. Not only the scoops, the additional content, be that the extra streams, the insert coin stream that we did on Wednesday, or last night's PlayStation Showcase live watch along with Ben from NGB. We appreciate everyone that has been sticking around. Gifting subs, Mr. Garlic Clark, I'm looking at you, or dropping their own subs. Thank you very much, Kane. We appreciate you. Or dropping follows, Nichio. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate it. We are going to drop off. There's potentially going to be afternoon streamy content today, I think, but we need to see how that is. But the best way you can find out whether there is going to be any streamed content is to drop a follow on the channel. If you do drop a follow, you get notified whenever we go live on Twitch. Be that for the scoop, be that for additional gameplays, or the live watch-alongs. So you might as well do it now. Yeah. Before any of that, though, Mr. Bibb, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, again, thank you very much for joining us for this week's episodes of The Scoop. All 5 now been completed. You can watch them on any of our on-demand services. But if you want to help shape the next show on Monday, there is 2 ways that you can do that. First of all, find us on social media. It is at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms, or get involved with our Discord. If you are watching this on any of our on-demand services, go into the description below. All the information you require will be listed there for you. But all we need from you is your thoughts and impressions. We will then give you our thoughts and impressions on the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow? Oh, sorry, on Monday.
On Monday.
Day.
We will be live at 10 a.m.
Ish.
I'm using deep voice, but what I meant was Venom voice. 10 a.m.-ish.
But that's it. Have a good weekend. Maybe join us for video games if we play some in a bit. And remember to stay frosty.
Yeah.